what do you evaluate, or what are you looking to evaluate in these practices where you're not exactly going at 100% on a lot of it?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's kind of the rules, in terms of the no contact, and you try to do the best you can. But I think it's important for these guys to go out there and whether it's a jog through rep or it's full speed on the 7-on-7 periods that we're doing. We did go full speed in the 2-minute, but there's still a lot of limitations in regards to you're trying to limit contact. You want to obviously keep guys off the ground. So up front is really where the biggest challenges lie in regards to you're not going to do any stunts. You're trying to rush totally on edges. You can't bull rush. But it is important to me for the quarterbacks to kind of get a feel for what that pocket is going to feel like when they get in a game. So it's a little bit different than 7-on-7 when they can bake a cake back there and, are nice and comfortable. But I think it's just more or less the assignment, the alignment, the assignment, the communication that needs to take place. And then when we do slow it down in those jog-through periods, I mean, fundamentally, in theory, you should be flawless in regards to taking the right footwork and just playing with good pad level and fundamentals.
Watching Sean Ryan today at center, I was thinking about the experience he's had in the interior line. Has he gotten many snaps there in practice the last couple of years behind Myers? And what do you like about him as a possible candidate if you need him there?
Yeah, I think we're confident in him. He's been training like this for a couple years now. So, and that's one of the benefits I would say that we do in regards to how we practice by splitting the fields up. You're going to get more reps in less amount of time, and so it would be hard to go and split the field like that and go full speed every rep because, I mean, there's a lot of tape to watch at the end, which is a great thing for us.
Were you a part at all of the discussion with Jaden Reed's agent and Goody of just about apparently clarifying where he stands?
I didn't even know about that. I saw the report, had no idea. So I know nothing about it. I haven't had a conversation about it.
So you haven't talked to Jaden at all?
No.
Okay. How do you think he's been?
He's been outstanding. I tell you what, it's a special group, and I think not only the rooks that we have coming in here, just being around them now for a couple weeks, I think it's a high character group, which is always important to us, and they approach it the right way. But I've been really impressed with our veterans taking these guys under their wings and kind of showing them the way and really helping them, coaching them. That's one of the emphasis of this offseason, I would say, is just trying to make sure that we're developing leaders, especially when you have a younger team. You want to make sure that you have leaders, and those guys have taken it to heart. And, Jaden's been instrumental. I think a lot of these guys, him, Rome, Christian's out there, even though he can't be out, physically doing a lot of the activities. He's been outstanding. Wicks, all these guys, Bo Melton, Malik, I see him always coaching. And it's not just the wide receiver unit. It's really been across the board.
Matt, what are your early impressions of Aaron Banks and just what you think he can do for your offense?
Yeah, he's a pretty big guy out there. And I think he's played a lot of football. So, and there was a lot of similarities in regards to the scheme from where he came from to what we do. And so I think he provides us with, obviously we know what he's capable of doing, but it also provided a lot of flexibility with everybody else around him.
Hey man, where do you think improvement in the pass rush can come this year?
Well, I think just some of the stuff that we've been talking over, I think the guys have a really good understanding of when we do rush for what everybody's responsibility is. I think that we're going to be a little cleaner in our rush lanes and not allowing big gaps up front to allow, whether it's quarterbacks stepping up or scrambling. So as far as I can tell, the communication's been great. I think DC's done a great job. I was just talking to Kenny Clark about it, as a matter of fact, earlier today, and just in terms of the technique, the level of detail at which he coaches, his ability to communicate, his ability to bring great energy to that room. So I'm looking forward to it, but ultimately there's a long way to go between now and then, and our guys got to continue to dig at all the little details of everything that we're trying to teach them.
Feel like that long ago since Jordan kind of rose into this seat that he's in now as your starter, but he's going in his third year. I'm curious, how different is he in these type of practice settings, these off-season settings on the field with guys than just a couple years ago, just in terms of that growth?
Yeah, obviously he's played a lot of ball, and along with that has gained a lot of confidence, and I think he's certainly comfortable in helping lead others and telling them what to do. He's a coach on the field. He knows this offense as good as anybody in regards to the details and what we're trying to get accomplished, and I think he articulates that well to the other players.
What was it that you saw him become comfortable with doing that, being that coach on the field? It's been a while now, but do you remember when he crossed over into that?
I think there was a little bit more last year. I think his first year when he was starting, he was just making sure that he was doing his job to the best of his ability. And although his job can be affected by everybody around him, I mean, that's just the game of football. We always talk about all 11 and doing your 1/11th, and but I would say even more so this year than I've seen in the past. Up to this point, he's been pretty vocal, and I think that's going to serve us well.
You always say that about the quarterback, that it's all 11, but in year 3, for you guys to do what you guys want to do, what more do you need from Jordan, not just from a leadership perspective, but staying healthy and production-wise?
Yeah, well, some of that stuff's out of your control. I think any one of us, week 1 in that position that he got into in Philly, it probably would have been much worse. Maybe not for a physical specimen like yourself, but for most of us, it would have been much worse. So I think a lot of that's just out of your control. He does a great job of controlling what he can control and doing the necessary things from a workout perspective, from a rehab perspective. So, it's a game of football. There's going to be unforeseen challenges, but I thought, all in all, he handled himself as good as you could have, considering the circumstances last year.
Athleticism notwithstanding, I am curious though, are there certain things from a production standpoint, if he's healthy?
No, I was just talking with Jory about this earlier today. I think it's funny. I think there's like a narrative out there that for whatever reason that he wasn't as productive as the year before. Well, I mean, he missed significant time. He missed the better of 3 games. Really, it was Indy, it was Tennessee. He went out in Jacksonville, and then he went out in Chicago. So, that's 3 games is a significant amount of time, and you're going to be you're not going to produce as much from a numbers perspective but from what I've seen, and then also there was, let's be honest, I mean, when we talked about this, we did have a lot of drops last year, and so there was other circumstances that play into it, and I think all in all, I think everybody's going to be better though.
We was talking a couple weeks ago about how different Edgerrin Cooper looks coming in, and I think he spent the offseason training here, if I'm not mistaken. I understand everyone looks like they're in good shape this time of year, but what have you seen from
Not everybody. Not everybody looks like they're in good shape.
So what have you seen from Cooper in these last couple months coming into year 2?
Yeah, he is, we were talking about it earlier on the grass when we went out there, and just how much more, he's so much more confident. Certainly his body looks different. I don't know if you guys could tell, but he's like 240 pounds right now, and I think there was a time when we came back last year where he was like 220. So the added weight, and he still looks like he's moving as good as he did a year ago. So I'm really excited about him. Just his understanding of the detail of what he's supposed to do, and those around him, I think, are going to allow him to play that much faster, which is pretty exciting.
Can 240 pounds of Edgerrin Cooper still have that explosive speed and quickness that?
That's what I was just saying.
Yeah, I mean, some people, if I gained weight, man, I would not be quite.
I don't think you're gaining the same type of weight he is, Bill.
I know, you know what I'm saying. Some guys have bulked up over the years and just aren't quite the same.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. He looks as explosive as I've seen him. So we're really fired up about that. And mind you, we do, I mean, there's scans, DEXA scans that we do for the body composition, and he's in a lot better place than he was.
I know every year is a new year, but with the continuity that you have on the roster, is it the same starting point each season at this part of the year, or are you further ahead?
No, you know, it's like every year you have to pretty much, you never want to assume anything as a coach, and you almost start from scratch in regards to the detail of how we practice. I got after the guys pretty good today because yesterday wasn't great. It wasn't clean. I thought today was much more productive. In terms of just the different tempos, it's harder when you're not going full speed. And then when you do crank it up and you are going full speed, you still got to remember the rules of engagement. So I think every year you start from scratch and you kind of build. And I think there's a much quicker learning curve for the guys that have been ingrained in our system and how we do things.
What have you thought of what Hobby's showing you now that he's out on the grass with you guys practice?
Yeah, he looks great. I mean, a guy that is definitely, he certainly looks the part. You know, so he's a guy that I think brings a lot of flexibility to our defense with his versatility to go whether we want to play him inside or outside.
Hey Matt, what's it been like with Sean Mannion on the grass, coaching with him? Obviously, you were a quarterback's coach. He's in a different role. What's that been like so far?
He's done a great job. He's extremely detailed, and I knew that's what we were going to get just from being around him when he was a player. He was the same way, and you know, he's going to cross every T and dot every I.
You know, I talked to Tom Clements, had all those years of experience and could cut right to it with a quarterback. And I asked Sean about that, and he said, yeah, that's a subject. I think he calls it honest assessment. Don't come in with 20 things. Come in with the first one or two things you need to work on. That's a tricky balance as a former quarterback coach, right?
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's like anything. If, as a coach, anybody ever taken a golf lesson here? And they give you like 3-4 things to work on, and you have no idea what you're working on, and you start hitting it worse than you did when you were coming in. So I think the same approach applies. That resonated with some of you, huh? I think the same approach applies when no matter what, whether it's a quarterback or an offensive lineman, you give them a couple things to focus on, and you try to get better at those, and then you move on to something else.
Joint practice with the Seahawks here, or with the Colts in Indy, or both, or where does that stand?
Both.
The Thursdays before the game.
I mean, you're asking me a question where that's a lot of months from now. So, what are we playing on Saturdays? Yeah, so it'll be on Thursday before those games.
Is there something else you can dig into with Josh Jacobs as far as great as he was last year? Is there another level you can get to with them to maximize something or other in his game?
Yeah, I just how we use him. I think his comfort within the system. I think he'll be much. You know, there's still a learning curve, even though he's a veteran player. When you're hearing all this new terminology, you know, and so we'll see where it goes. But he was pretty damn good last year.
Of the guys that weren't able.
They don't want to talk to players.
All right.
Of the guys that weren't able to work today, is there anybody that you're worried about long-term beyond Christian? And then is Christian looking like he's...
Christian's doing outstanding. I would say he's ahead of schedule. But again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not medical staff, so we'll see where he's at. But I don't really anticipate anything too long-term with any of these guys.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.